It is being reported that a fight is being negotiated between Demetrius Andre and David Benavidez. Now this would be an interesting fight at the super middleweight division because these two top fighters with their skill sets appear to be men that are just outside of the championship. And the owner of the championship currently is Canelo Alvarez. But as we look ahead at the prospect of this fight coming about, again making 2023 a most amazing year in the sport of competitive boxing due to the matchups throughout this year. The calendar year rings with talent and brimming fights from top to bottom. But as we look at this, will the road lead to Canelo for the fighter that's victorious in this match? It's hard pressed to say. Canelo signed a 3-fight deal with the PBC, and these two fighters are definitely on PBC, but even after they face one another, will Canelo look toward them as one of the future matches on his contract? In the case of David Benavidez, who's currently 27-0 with 23 KOs and had been called the Mexican Monster because he comes in like a monster pursuing his opponents, wearing them down with pressure and volume of punches, looking to break them psychologically and physically. And he has been avoided by Canelo for the past couple of years, hanging right at that #1 spot for the WBC, though no one is enforcing a fight between he and Canelo. And the case for Andrade, who's also 32-0 with 19 KOs and a former champion at middleweight, he has been looking to face off against Canelo since they were both around the 154-pound division. And Canelo, a few years ago, openly insulted Demetrius when he asked, "When will we get it on?" Canelo told him he doesn't fight anybody and that nobody knows who he is. But that's not really true. The real boxing fans know who Demetrius Andre is, and so does Canelo. And it's funny that these two men have been avoided by the undisputed champion for several years, and no one is turning the heat up on them regarding it. So now they're looking to face off against one another. Just like when you look at the peak of a mountain, one man can stand alone at the top. There can only be one. And so out of these two, they look to offset one another to become the next man who will challenge for the undisputed title. As I look at the talent between the two, their styles make for an interesting matchup. Demetrius Andre is a prototype boxer who, as a southpaw, can box straight up and down, in and out, lateral movement, good hand speed, and definitely power and pop on his punches. But Benavidez, who appears to be a plodding, pressuring fighter, but with exceptional hand speed and strength behind it. He has the type of pressuring tactics that can wear you down psychologically, and because he can punch in volume with good hand speed, that can wear on you physically over time and rounds. Now, we haven't seen Demetrius Andre use his legs and his footwork in recent bouts, and he hasn't been as active as he should be, but he still is the type of talent that can pick holes in a fighter like David Benavidez's defense and put him in jeopardy. Caleb Plant was never a noted puncher, but he was able to get some things done against Benavidez tactically and early on, winning rounds. But if Benavidez elects to allow Demetrius Andre to hit him like Caleb Plant was able to do, he could be in jeopardy, because definitely Demetrius Andre can punch, and punch with power that will put you on notice. So the way I see this early on is that it's a great competitive match, a match that can pit two men against one another to try to angle themselves for the ultimate holy grail, and that would be the undisputed championship fight with Canelo Alvarez. But will Canelo open himself up to that possibility? Somewhere, somehow, I could see belts being dropped, and that the champion will walk away from the challenge of either of these two men. It's simply a matter of pick your poison. If it's going to be Benavidez, it's a big, strong, very young fighter who can apply the pressure when Canelo is accustomed to applying the pressure. He will not be strong enough to bang Benavidez off of him over a period of 12 rounds. His best bet would be to catch Benavidez early. In the case of Demetrius Andre, a southpaw is always going to give you trouble as an orthodox fighter. And now that his legs have slowed down even more, Canelo will find it difficult, because Demetrius can defeat him the same way Dimitri Bivol did, controlling mid-range, keeping him at the end of shots, and peppering him. And I believe that Demetrius will take some chances and try to get Canelo up out of there. In a tough fight where Canelo throws everything hard, begins to fade as the rounds go on because he's getting tired from throwing so many hard shots, I could see Demetrius Andre, as long as he doesn't get caught with anything silly, come on late in the fight. And if he uses his good lateral footwork and combination punching, he could possibly get a stoppage over Canelo. But this video is not about Canelo, but it's about the fact that these two men who are willing to get in the ring against one another, to risk their position, because as an undisputed champion, you need to have a challenger coming up next. And so the one who wins this fight would be the one who's considered next, possibly. So as I look at this fight, will the road lead to Canelo? We are certainly uncertain. But one thing about these two men coming together to face one another is it's a hell of a fight. Two fighters who have opposing styles, and that could lead to something very interesting in the ring. I could see either one of these guys hitting the canvas when facing one another, because that's how good they both are and how much of a threat that they are at facing one another. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Benavidez versus Andre. Who would you roll with if this fight comes off? It's gonna be a burner. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.